Hey there, it's Will. I thought I would go over the stock market indices and then talk a little bit about some how to find some growth stocks over different periods of time. And so, if we start with the Nasdaq, you can see it's up 4.4%. So the way I sort of recommend, or the way I do things, is I look at trend lines. So you can see here in the Nasdaq we had this downtrend. So what I do is I draw a line across the tops of the candles. Okay. If you don't know what candlesticks are, check out the link in the description. There's a forum, and there's Steve Bigelow has some great books on candlestick trading. But we also use the trend. So you have this downtrend here. So you're waiting for a break of the downtrend. And so today we have that break and there's a gap up. So it shows quite a bit of excitement. And obviously with the US election, the main issue I think right now is that the Senate is going to stay Republican. So that means that things will be somewhat slow to change. So market probably likes that. If they were worried about certain things, it's going to be harder to get things done. So, I'm assuming they expect some kind of stimulus now that it wasn't held back, before the election. So, anyway, but all I do, I normally just look at the candlesticks and the trends. So, the first break of a downtrend is not necessarily an entry point. If you're a little more conservative, you wait for a higher low. So you see here we have a low. I'll draw a line. So I'm using TC2000 software. There's a little palette here, and if you hold the shift down, you can draw a little horizontal line. I put it at the bottom of the wicks of the candles. And so some people are really aggressive. As soon as you see an up, reversal, you could potentially jump in at a low point, but that doesn't always work. You can see here there was a low point, it kind of came up and then it came back down again. But when you have a higher low established here, that's a good sign in terms of confirming the uptrend. And also because it's near the 50 moving average, you see how it supports at that point. So a lot of times it breaks up through the 50 moving average, comes back, tests it, and once we bounce off, then we get an uptrend there. This didn't last a huge long time, but you can see that it was established for a period of time. We're in a kind of a volatile phase right now, so nothing that is true today, will persist for a long period of time necessarily. But so anyway, this is a good sign just in terms of the break of the downtrend. If you're looking at candlesticks, you kind of have a kicker. You have a down candle and then an up candle, and there's at least some sort of a gap, ideally, or these are kind of at the same point here, but so they go in opposite directions, and then you have this big gap up. So that's a pretty good sign of a reversal. And other indices are similar. So we have a downtrend here. We broke it. You can see that if you drew a line at the bottom, there's a doji gap up. So that's quite a strong reversal as well, and another gap. So two gaps in a row. Dow Jones, same sort of thing. We have gap ups here, doji gap ups, and a break. Depends, there's two different trends. There's a flatter one and a steep one. So we had this really steep drop. So you could wait for more of a break of this flatter one. But the other thing that's going to happen is you've got resistance here at these previous highs, similar to the other ones as well. So there's potential that they get hung up at those spots. In Canada, Toronto Stock Exchange is not as, you have the doji gap ups as well. It's got a lot of resistance here with the 50-day moving average, of course, but and Canada has a lot of oil and gas and banks which aren't doing too well. IWM, which is the Russell 2000, is doing pretty well. It's broken this downtrend. It is close to a nearby resistance here, but you're above the 8 EMA. So I like to see buy points like you can see here at the 8 when it's above the 8 EMA, which is exponential moving average. If you're looking at MACD, it's nice to see a crossover, like we're getting close here, a cross of the MACD, which is a momentum indicator. But you know, it is slower, like, you know, depending on when you want to get in, it's a bit slower. Candlestick wise, you have this harami here, which is a candle within the body of the previous one, gap up. So some good candlestick signals. If you're looking at US dollar exchange in Canada, at least, you know, obviously, in my opinion, when things, not my opinion, but, you know, basically people sell out of cash or bonds and go into stocks, you're going to see a drop in the dollar. So, you know, that's sort of goes hand in hand with that. So, you know, I think generally speaking, it's a good time to get in. Like, of course, it depends on your tolerance, like in terms of waiting for a cross of the MACD, but, or waiting for, like I said, a higher low, like a confirmation. But, you know, we do have that break. There's some concerns, obviously, with COVID, like the lockdowns are increasing. But I think, you know, the market's looking at a lot of things like the stimulus and stuff like that. So what I do here, so I have these tabs in TC2000. If you want to get a free trial or a $25 off coupon for to sign up for this program, this software, check out the link in the description below. I'm signed up for the gold package, which is the real-time. I signed up for gold and I get a real-time US data. So that's for the US stock exchanges, just in case you're wondering. So there's these tabs here which have different views, like there's different layouts, like I talked about in other videos, where you look at sector analysis, fundamentals, if you want to look at the earnings and the sales and all that kind of thing. So I've got this main window here, and I've got various tabs. So here I have a tab for tech stocks. And over here I've got the sector, I've got the indices, and then I have a bunch of ETFs, which are the sectors, and I can sort. So I'll see which ones are doing really well if I want to look at the gains. So IBB is the biotech. So what a lot of times you can draw a line vertically down, and then you see this cross up over the 8 EMA and above the 50. So lots of good entry points in terms of signals that we're in an uptrend here. Cloud-based, so it's very similar what's happening now. We've had a reversal down here and we're shooting up quite a bit. So anyways, what you do is you right click on that tab and you say duplicate. So I duplicated that, you know, because I wanted to keep all the graphs and everything. But I removed the right side panel, and on the left I changed the columns so I still have the same you know, data here, but like the tech stocks and stuff. Okay, so I've got these three columns: 5-day, 30-day, 90-day. So in actuality, those are like 1 week, 30, you know, a month, and 90 days. But really, the trading days, there's 5, 22, and 66. So about 22 days per month. But so what you do is you right click on that, edit, and then I take the close, which is today's close minus the 5 days ago, divided by the 5-day close, so get the percentage gain. And so then you can sort it by that. So you can see stocks that are really moving in the last 5 days. I'm not saying that those are necessarily the exact point you would enter, but you want to see stocks that are really moving, and that's interesting. And then 30 days, a little bit longer term, if you sort by that, it may be a little more consistent, something that's had a longer duration of, and some of these are similar, Pinterest and things like that. And then 90 days. So it depends on your time frame and sort of the strength of the interest. So obviously, like a 5-day, you know, is a shorter duration and may not last long, but if you want to see a 90-day, you could see things that are doing really well. It doesn't guarantee that, you know, they're going to keep doing that. but I think it's a really good way to find stocks that are growing really well. This one here on a 90-day period had a really good run, and now it's not doing great. So you know, it may have a turn, it may turn around. So it depends on which time frame you're looking at. The other cool thing with TC2000 is you can filter. Like if you have a list of whatever stocks you've maybe favorited them or you've flagged them, then you can click on the scan button and create a subset of your particular criteria. So I've got this one like where the MACD is crossing the right at that point. So if we look at Zen Desk, you can see that it's crossing, basically yesterday. So these are like early Hyliion. I've talked about this before. It used to be Shell. It was a truck, electric trucks and that conversions. And this is an early cross of the MACD. So, it's a sign that things are going to be flipping around. Here's another one, Unity, which is the VR software. You've got this cross in the MACD. Xilinx, which is the semiconductor. So these are like basically a subset of any, and you can do that for any list that you have. So if we go back to my main chart here, if I go to my ETFs and I click on this, and I've got basically the same sort of thing, just a cross of a MACD, and then I pick value stock. This is crossing the China. So basically an early potential entry point. Visually you can look at things like breaking through support or resistance line or breaking a trend, but it's always a pretty good sign. Like when you look here, this is price percent oscillator, which is similar to MACD, but you can see here that there's usually pretty good entry points with the MACD as well. But you also can verify it visually with a break of a downtrend. The other thing that happens a lot of times is the 3 EMA, which is the green line, crosses up over the 8 EMA. So when you have it below and then it comes up above, that's also a sign as well. Not a guarantee by any means, but all right, guys. Hope that helps. Now, as I mentioned, this is amazing software, and I recommend you guys use this. So check out the link in the description below. You get a free trial or $25 off if you decide to purchase it. And I've had this for quite a long time, and I recommend that you guys use this. And there's an iPad version. Once you sign up, you've got access on your iPad or iPhone or smartphone or whatever as well. All right, guys, talk to you later.